Adolf Hitler was born an Austrian by historical accident on the 20th of April 1889. His birthplace, Braunau am Inn, had been part of the Duchy of Bavaria for hundreds of years before being ceded to the Habsburg monarchy at the Treaty of Teschen, which concluded the War of the Bavarian Succession in 1779. It changed hands several times during the tumults of the Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars, returning to Austria for good in 1815. Culturally and ethnographically, the border along the River Inn between Germany and what became the Austro-Hungarian Empire marked a distinction without a difference, at least in Braunau and environs. The German dialect and traditional customs differed little on both sides of the river. Even though Hitler soon moved further east, residing in a number of other places, he remained within Upper Austria, and thus the central Bavarian dialect area. Hitler later frequently referred to himself as a Bavarian. Politically, however, the gulf was enormous. For about 1,000 years, Braunauers had been part of the Holy Roman Empire, a political commonwealth which embraced most Germans until its collapse in 1806. Their German orientation was maintained through membership of the German Confederation after 1815. In 1866–71, however, the Prussian chief minister, Otto von Bismarck, extruded Austria and crushed France in order to enable the small German unification of the Second Reich. The Habsburgs responded by looking south and east, and by seeking a compromise with the unruly Magyars. Thanks to the new status of the Hungarian crown, Braunauers were now imperial and royal subjects of a multinational empire rather than of an expressly German polity. The border with the German Empire ran only 300 meters away at Simbach, on the other side of the Inn. The Hitlers must have seen it every day. His father Alois's sympathies are said to have been pan-German, coupled to a liberal, or at least free-thinking outlook, sceptical of the Roman Catholic Church. There is no reliable evidence that Alois was either disloyal to the Habsburgs, anti-Semitic, drunken, or violent towards his children. Adolf was a younger child in a sprawling family. He had an older half-brother, Alois Jr., and half-sister, Angela, from his father's first marriage to Franziska Matzelsberger. After her death, Alois had married his cousin, Clara Pölzel, with whom he had 6 children, of whom only 2 survived, Adolf himself and his younger sister Paula. 2 of Hitler's 4 siblings died before he was born, and 1 when Hitler was hardly 10 years of age. Clara's sister Johanna, nicknamed Hanne Tante, was a major figure in their lives. Alois's work soon took the family from their home in the Salzburger Vorstadt Street to nearby Haarfeld, Lambach. He also worked for a while in the German border town of Passau. Alois eventually retired to Leonding, where he collapsed and died over a morning glass of wine in a local hostelry on the 3rd of January 1903. The widowed Clara moved the family first to Linz and then Urfahr on the other side of the Danube. Hitler's education at the Staatsrealschule Linz continued. The school at Linz was known for its German nationalist and anti-Habsburg sympathies. After doing well in his first years at school, Adolf became an indifferent pupil with frequent absences, securing high marks only in drawing and sport, and only as satisfactory for effort. Although Hitler joined various cultural organizations while in Linz and Urfahr, such as the Linzer Musealverein, the Oberösterreichische Musikalverein, and the Oberösterreichischer Volksbildungsverein, there is no contemporary evidence for any political engagement. There is nothing to suggest either that Hitler knew his fellow pupil, Ludwig Wittgenstein, later a famous philosopher. One way or the other, Hitler was a poor student who was forced to repeat a year before finally leaving school, aged 16. What effect this drumbeat of death and change had on the young Adolf is not known. His experiences were in no sense remarkable. Such emotional and financial insecurities were common at the time, and perhaps to all times. It is true that both father and son, as it later turned out, formed attachments to their female cousins, But this was not unusual in rural areas, then and since. He seems to have enjoyed normal friendships, especially with his fellow Wagnerian, August Kubizek, whom he first encountered at a performance and who shared his artistic interests. There was therefore nothing in Hitler's early childhood, about which very little is known for sure, to suggest what was to come later.